Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HSBG podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Kickles. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady, how you doing?
So proud. I'm well, Collins. Oh well, how you been?
I've been good. It was my birthday this week, right? So spent some time doing nothing, which is my one of my favorite pastimes. That kind of thing, just relaxing and catching up on things. So had a pretty good week. How about you? You can see the birthday balloon. People keep asking me, "Oh, is that the new balloon?" And I'm just like, "No, no, no, it's not. I'm not."
It's like this balloon and I are not on those terms yet, chat. Just if it happens, it happens. Don't force it. Yeah. Yeah, we both have our birthday in August, so yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
I have a
good
lot of
stuff.
I know a lot of people with August birthdays. I wonder if it's because that's just happenstance that I just happen to be, or if I just remember August birthdays because people are like, "Oh, my birthday's in August." I'm like, "Me too," and then I remember it where it's like
Probably a bias
my
going on for
birthday's in
sure.
July, and I don't care. I like get out of here.
You're dead to me. Yes. Oh man. No, I've been good. I've been good. It's just yeah, anomalies are it's a lot.
They're
It,
great. They've changed
it's
the game.
big.
Everything's balanced. I see no issues. Is that what you're gonna say, or no?
No, I was gonna say that it's just you have a whole meta for each
inside
anomaly.
inside every meta, yeah. So
Yeah, now there's definitely some limiting factors, right? Sometimes the meta is just roll for this, right?
mhm.
So it's not like you have a whole like this is quest and this is buddies and this is but some of them, like for instance tier 7 are pretty in depth where you have all the new cards and then you have tier 7 is like okay, this is how you have this extra health, this is how it's gonna change all the dynamics. So it's it's just a lot. It's a very, very, very knowledge based patch.
Mm.
Like you have to know a lot. There's so many tricks and things you just have to know. Like things that are just way stronger in a certain anomaly than in another, and then certain heroes that are just like disgusting in certain anomalies. So, but yeah, we'll get to that. It's just I've just been busy. I've been learning. Sometimes I feel like I'm not making progress. Then other days it goes really well. So there's yeah, just learning up and down kind of thing.
Yeah, it's super true because there isn't a base to rely on. I mean, there is that, we were playing Hearthstone, I mean, Battlegrounds base, right?
Yeah,
But in terms of how you pilot um a game, I guess like the first couple turns, there isn't really like a baseline of, oh yeah, up to turn 5, it's always the same. Then anomalies come in, then you adjust, right? It's like, oh, anomalies turn 1, oh, I got to change my game plan from this. Oh, we start level 2, got to change my game plan. You have 10 extra health armor, got to change my game plan, right? So it's not the case where you can go in with a game plan that will carry you to a certain point when you need a change. It's like, okay, anomalies affect the game from turn 1. Now I got to change from the beginning. And if you don't have that mindset, you're behind already. And when you are competing, like as you're trying to climb as a highest level player, you got to take every advantage. So if you're like ignoring the anomaly the first 3 turns, like you can't really do that. That's not a feasible way of climbing consistently compared to the people that really are focused, right? You have to take advantage of every opportunity in terms of making sure your first couple turns are paying respects to the anomaly in mind. So it is difficult in that you're going to have to spend a lot of time learning every single anomaly and how it changes like your leveling curves and stuff like that, and also like hero priorities and blah, blah, blah. So it's a huge knowledge dump, but it's a one that you learn slowly. The issue is like if you try to start playing in like the middle of the season, right, when everyone understands things, right, then
yeah. Well,
you're
they're bringing in new anomalies as well,
right.
right? So and then they give them an offering rate bonus. So we do have like a big meta shift when now you have big league, little league, and everything's on fire. You
Right.
get those more often. So yeah, there's definitely there's always a huge plus for playing a lot, but it's even more this season.
Yeah.
Like you get really rewarded for just having volume, just sheer exposure to the number of different anomalies, or like it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's super true. Well, today we've got, I guess, two patches. We've got a server side hotfix patch. That one isn't too important, but then we do have the official patch changes, changing some of the heroes. I mean, the minions and the some of the anomalies, stuff like that. So we can start with the server side since it was earlier, but it's not too big. It's not too important. It's just kind of
No,
uh,
just some
discuss.
small like more of this anomaly, less of that anomaly type stuff. It's not super important.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say there's some armor changes that happened, right?
Hmm.
Where you come out of quest meta and you have some changes, right? But definitely not everything. But we're not going to cover all of those. I mean, the stuff that was winning too much is now less armor. The stuff that wasn't winning enough gets more armor.
Hmm.
Not as important as in quest meta anyway. But then when it comes to anomaly updates, we just have, for the most part, a lot of the boring ones are being offered less.
Good.
And then there was also fair a reward, which I think is so we've had Fortitude of Kasgaroth, the Nathrius Anima Reserve, Oops All. Those are all, in my opinion, more boring ones. Where if you have Oops All, it really comes down to, oh, we're all rolling for the same card,
Yeah.
right? You play demons, you're all trying to do Malkazar with the Floating Watcher, with Tichondrius.
Right.
If it's all elementals, you're all trying to either know me, you're all trying to rock.
Right.
So not super interesting, and also heroes matter so much, right?
Right.
I had Millhouse all elementals. It's just not fair.
Right.
It's just, I mean, like you play certain heroes just have an insane advantage, and certain oops all.
Right.
There was a Gallywix in the lobby as well, and it's literally like, okay, that's top two, right? It's
Right.
like for us to not be top two, there's some serious shit that had to go wrong, and we were top two.
Right.
The and then I mean the fortitude of Kasgaroth also feels a little bit more boring, where it's just like stack health on one thing and then copy that, and everybody's trying to get a Noyatron at the start because it's, you know, you have a high damage divine
Right.
shield,
Right.
and people always lead with a high health minion, so it's just very good to have a high damage divine shield taunted. Stuff like that. But the really big balance change that happened is they removed Treasure Seeker Elise from the pool.
That's the
In
minion.
a yeah, from the pool
Yeah.
as a minion, right?
Yeah.
Minion pool for a fair reward. So there was this strategy that was figured out on day one. You just grab Elise, and then when prizes reach tier 3, it's already really good to just roll it down for monkeys, because on tier 3 you can get buy the whole shop, which obviously gives you money. So you can get bananas, you can get discover 6 drops, so that's just good tempo for 5 rolls. If you have 2 Elises on your board, it's a no-brainer. But once tier 4 prizes rolled around, you would just get the friends and family discount, which is the one that reduces the minion cost in the shop by 1. Now, we'll see in the patch that that's been adjusted again, but what people did on day 1, day 2, they just played Elise, then they played 2 of those, so all the minions would now cost 1, or they play 3, so they cost 0. You don't really need 0, but what the hell? At some point, you're swimming in prizes, so you may as well do it. And then it's just spam roll. It becomes APM. You just roll, monkey, and then you get Braggart, and you give the Braggart Divine Shield, Wind Fury. And the thing with Braggart is the golden one will combine the stats. So you'll just have Braggart, then it'll triple. You have a huge Braggart, and then the new Braggart will copy the stats of the golden Braggart. So then you make 2 big ones of that. They triple, then all the stats are consolidated again, and then you go Braggart.
That sounds like 12 prizes used. You know, like
Yeah. But I mean, you would literally, so you would roll, minions would cost 0, right? So you're infinite. So you roll 5 times, which is free because of the thing that makes your rolls cost, the first 5 cost free, or you just sometimes buy a scout that's elemental, so you don't run out of money, right? So it's literally roll 5 times, monkey, roll 5 times, monkey, roll 5 times, monkey. Because by that time you have a golden Elise, right?
Right.
So you just go, and it's just APM price. You're just playing APM price. It's yeah. So the standard board would be just
Braggart,
in the
Braggart.
millions of health, right? In the millions of health, because it goes very, very quickly. When you start off with like a 40-40, and then you get a Braggart that's 40-40, and then the other one, you golden that. Then I don't know what that is. That's in the hundreds, and then the next Braggart is also in the hundreds, and then you go into the thousands, and then you have high in the thousands, and then tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It goes very quickly like that. So yeah,
Whee!
but that's no longer a thing. But that was why they had to remove Elise, just to paint that picture. Like that honestly could have happened day one. I think that, well, maybe not from a technical standpoint, but from a, hey, I think we have the data standpoint, like that could have happened. You could have seen someone do that 2 times and you'd be like, okay,
That's gone. That's gone.
probably shouldn't have Elise in a fair award. And it was up for days, right? So, and it made the game mode very unexciting because it was just, I guess I'm rolling for Elise. I guess there's literally nothing else worth rolling for because, you know, if somebody has several millions worth of stats with all, divine shields on them, so it's like even.
Well, we
like
have
you can,
Murlocs, and
yeah,
Braggarts.
yes, you can scam it. Like it. But the funny thing was, then you're just playing APM scam because you can't fund. In order to fund something that actually beats this, you actually need a shit ton of money yourself. Because what are we talking about then, right? Blaster to get rid of all the shields, double golden base skill, golden poison guy. Your hand is Leroy, Bramblewitch,
Shady's
Bramblewitch.
like, I know
yeah.
exactly what board I need. Like, here it is.
You can beat a board full of million health brackets. You just need a shit ton of money.
Do you think it's okay that you can beat a board full of million health braggarts? Do you think that's
I
like
think it's okay that you can beat anything. Yeah, like I'm sure there's like the thing that's extremely tough to beat, like with the probably something that's doing exceptionally well with base skills, right? That's going to be tough to beat. Like a board that has like a giga large chonker on the board, the 6-drop Murloc, and then like golden base skills, and the hand is full of good shit. That is tough to beat, right? Because that's going to be a lot of scams, and they have stats, so it doesn't really die to tokens. It doesn't really die to stats because you have a bunch of the poison scam. It probably just dies to a better base skill build. So to get to that, maybe this is a little bit of a whatever freestyle, but we'll do it anyway because hey, it's our podcast, can do whatever we want. Base skill itself, it's so many anomalies that people ask what is optimal, as I say base skill, right? Because it's just, the one where your death rattles proc twice and your battle cries proc twice. You pretty much have to go base skill. It's the tombs quest essentially when we think about that. Yeah, if you played during quest meta and you played with tombs and you saw someone with base skills on their board, it was just, how do you beat that, right? The base skills pull twice as many units, and you pretty much just have to put anything remotely useful in your hand. It could be even a selfless or something that pops out. It's just free. It's an extra thing. And you're just playing with, 14 minions, 18 minions sometimes, some crazy shit where you just summon way more.
Begs the question, right? We always tend to talk about like problematic cards, right? But I know you like base skill. Now, would it fit your criteria as something that deserves being looked at?
For sure. I think the issue is that they so they're kind of going away from it, but especially before the patch where they introduced Murky and they buffed Murkai, before that patch, that was their whole identity, right? Like you take base skill away, Murlocs don't do anything because their whole thing is you make a large hand or a largely statted hand, and then you can play the big guy. If you don't have base skill, then putting a lot of stats in your hand is going to kill you, right? You can't do that. You can't hold Bream and then never summon the Bream. That doesn't work. It could work in the late game, but you die in the mid game, right? You never get past the mid game without the Bream. So, and I don't even think that base skill is like super problematic for just pure Murloc. The issue is,
my thing is like, what if it could only summon Murlocs? Is that an adjustment that you think, it's fine, or do you think you need the scam potential of like it has to be able to summon Bristlebacks or Leroys and things like that?
From my immediate, right, when looking at it, that seems fine. I don't think you break the game in a fundamental way by saying, no, your poison base skill can't pull a Leroy as well.
Okay.
That just sounds stupid when we talk about it that way, where you can have poison the Venom Murloc. Yeah, so like for the price of 2 units, and let's go a little daring here. Let's God forbid you rolled 3 base skills, so it's a golden base skill. So for the price of 2 units on your board, you can quite easily kill 4 minions with Venom on the Poison Murloc, which puts the Venom on the base skill, and then the Venom on base skill kills another one, and then that summons two insta kill minions like Leroy or Venoms. So 2 of your minions killing 4 of their minions. Like, you pretty much have to get cleaved, or you have to get messed up with tokens. But if your opponent just has dudes on the board, like, you're killing 4 dudes. Like, there's no way around it. You are killing 4 dudes. So yeah, that's just a bit too strong, and it also creates a headache because almost every time you start thinking, okay, what's optimal here? Well, I guess having a shit ton of good cards in my hand and then pulling them with base skill. That's almost always the optimal play if you can do it with Murlocs in. But what I was saying is, like, yeah, they've kind of made their whole identity around it. So you would have to be okay. Like, you would be able to summon the 6-drop Murloc, right? That's a Murloc Undead.
Yeah.
So the scan potential would be limited to that. Or theoretically, you could pull. See, here we go again, right? You could theoretically you could put like the poison guy in your hand. You could like Uther the 3/2, 3/2 Venom guy, and then you pull that one with base kill, and you still end up pulling more Venom minions, but it'd be a lot harder.
But you think that would be like an okay adjustment? Because you know me, I'm always looking like, how do we make this like not super toxic all the time? Like, how do we balance it in a way that's still meaningful and still good for players, right? And I think maybe limiting it to Murlocs might be my initial assessment, but I'd like to see like what you're looking at in terms of feedback.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I'm not sure what their data says for base skill, and I also don't know how much they can filter if they can, because I think overall base skill might not be problematic at all. If you look at all the
I'm so like so Snap does this all the time. They change things only based on data, and I'm just like, no, please, like, play. You know, sometimes look at the game states and say, oh, this is imbalanced. You know, so I'd more like to see like your just gut opinion about some of these things, and if it makes sense
for sure. No, I mean, if you look at the highest level of play, if Murlocs are in, there's going to be base skill abuse. Yeah. Pretty much every game.
Because and that's what I like knowing about, you know, because it's hard for data to really capture the highest level of play, right? It's a minuscule amount, and it's not like representative of the overall data. That's pretty much you get dilution. So that kind of stuff, player feedback is really important since it's so hard to capture that through the data where you can isolate. Let's isolate 0.1%, and like you have like 200 games, and it's like the numbers and the stats are way skewed because of, you know, how specific people are at that level. So love hearing
that. The question that comes up after that is like, is that the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Or do you want to change your game for the 0.01%?
Well, you see, so that's why I'm saying the suggestion of like making it only Murlocs, I feel like doesn't hurt too much of like those normal players.
You kill that banana strategy, right? So you might have some like mid-tier players that are like, oh, I love playing banana with base skill.
What if you add beasts as well? Like,
I don't know.
Is that crazy?
Then the problem is that you start making really complicated cards, right? Because like,
well, then you'd have to make it like a Murloc beast, right? Wouldn't you? But then it'd be in every beast game, so that'd be a huge beast buff.
You know, Battlegrounds wants to stay far away from Magic the Gathering / Yu-Gi-Oh cards, where you like kind of have to pull out a dictionary, and be like, all right, what does this card do?
Do we do that? I mean, is that
there's like no space left on the card because like just so much text, right? And so you're I think that's really part of the core identity of BGs is you can not know the game at all, watch someone play the game, and be like, I kind of cool.
Do we need the beast synergy? They added the other card. I feel like maybe you don't need that. The other card that flies in.
No. So I'd be happy to make it Murloc only. I'm just saying that there may be other things we're not considering that it would reduce the enjoyment, right, for more casual players.
I don't know if I enjoy losing to base skill pulling out a huge beast and then getting like 10 extra.
Pretty toxic, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that raises my enjoyment, to be fair, Shady. So I don't know. I'm kind of down. Anyways, we are so like getting off.
It's great. It's great. Little side tangent on base skill because I think it deserved it. It's one of the most powerful cards we've really seen for high MMR play. Like very, very powerful card.
Yeah, I think that's super fair. All right, now let's talk about the patch. The big dog patch notes, that kind of thing. Let's fix this. So we did have a patch a couple days ago. Bug fixes, updates. We do have the non BG stuff, which we're gonna skip. But first one is the anomaly. Denatrius Anima reserves. All heroes are Sir Denatrius. Now the new one is quest and rewards are in the game, so now you have double quests. So they decided they were listening to players, listening to feedbacks. Players are like, "This is boring. We're just Denatrius. That sucks. I don't want this. Give me more." And they said yes. Let's double it up. Every hero is Denatrius, but we also have quests and rewards back in the game. You like quests? What do you think about this? Have you seen this? It's only been a couple of
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
Right?
for
So,
sure, for
okay.
sure. No, I was very, very happy to see this change.
Mhm.
It's the change that I think was probably the most logical,
Mhm.
right? Like that was like, okay, well, they obviously have the technology to turn anomalies on and off, so we should probably have the technology to turn quests on for that. So from a pure technical standpoint, it was cool to see like, okay, we can just do that. The experience that I had, I got the old Denathrius quest 2 times in one day, and when I boiled it down, I just said, okay, so let me get this straight. I'm playing quest meta,
Mhm.
but I only get to choose from 2 quests.
Mhm.
I have to choose them on turn 1,
Mhm.
so I have very, very limited information
Yes.
on what I'm going to get.
Yes.
And it's just like, wait, am I not just playing a strictly worse quest meta? It's like, this sucks. And it's like, okay, nice. Now we're playing quest meta. Hey, quest meta was good, so it's good. All right, so they can even have like a buddy anomaly where you actually have a buddy game, but that might be too, like, the way they have it now is fine, right? They have
That's what
buddies
I
in the
thought. That's what I thought
yeah,
was gonna happen, where there was
right,
like
right.
a buddy
But
change, right?
but
But
then you need so much knowledge
yeah,
all of a
I
sudden.
know.
Like,
That's
what's your buddy, right? Like, you want to pick your hero, you're like, what the fuck's my buddy? I don't know. So I get it. I get it. But like for us, it'd be like, hey, that's cool. Throwback. I know all the buddies. I know what they do. Like, I might have to be like, what was that again? Okay, that was that. Yeah, okay, cool. Like, what tier was that? Tier 3. Tier 3. Okay, okay. Stuff like that, right? We'd have to like maybe go back and check.
That's
But
true.
imagine you're
Do I
like,
know the tiers of everybody?
yeah, right. Like you
Maybe.
know a lot,
I do
but
know
like
a
there's
lot.
also
Yeah.
yeah, there'd be some where you're like, that could have been a 5. Like this 4, that's a 4 or a 5, right? Like stuff like that. That would happen. Where you're like Nazoth Bunny, you're like, is that a 4? Is that a 5? Yeah, like that's up there. So yeah, but
Were
if
there
you're
even
new,
fives? I didn't even know there were fives.
tier 5 buddies. Well, towards the end for sure, right? The second time around, because Sylvana's buddy was a 6. There were definitely 5s.
Oh
Ticketus is a
yeah.
5,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
So
you're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they when you could get them with gold, they were definitely yeah, they were higher
Yeah,
tier.
they were higher tier. Yeah, you're right. That's true. Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay, anyways,
Moving on.
long-winded answer, but good change. Very good. Like low hanging fruit kind of stuff. We're
Speaking
very
of
happy
good
with.
low hanging, no, I'm kidding, but good change for sure. Friends and family discount is now for the rest of the game. Minions in the tavern cost 2, so it's not cost 1 less anymore. It's limited to 2, so you can't abuse it by spamming 4 of these and having it cost 0. So this is pretty good since there was ways to make this very broken with some combinations. So I think this is a good change as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is still powerful, which I think is good, right? You
Mhm.
don't want the tier 16 price or
It's like casting
you
it
know,
once, which is fine. Like, yeah,
yeah, you cast it once, and that's a good upgrade.
unless
Hey,
you're
you are now
Millhouse.
Millhouse, and your rolls cost that's tome. That's a quest reward, right?
Yeah.
That's a high end quest reward. Blood-soaked tome. Your minions now cost 2. Great. So good change. The optimal strategy in the prize lobbies was still survive until you can get to turn 4 tier 4 prizes, and then have a few banked, let them rip, and hope you hit 2 of these babies, and then you're infinite straight away. That was still the optimal strategy. So it's good that this is now changed. There's going to be a little less incentive to bank prizes, of course, if you can get away with it. Right, of course, you would want tier 4 over tier 3 prizes, but before it was okay, as long as I don't die, which a lot of the time with Ice Block was pretty much guaranteed, you wouldn't die. You could just say, okay, in one turn I could pop off so hard that I'll make up for holding these prizes. Which, on a side note, I'd be okay removing Ice Block altogether from
Yeah,
a fair
I'm
reward.
with you. I'm with you as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one
like
doesn't make too much sense when everyone just has it. Like it's like
it's just
stop.
extending the game, and you're enabling the high roll, right? Like if you give a high level player like no, don't get like you cannot die no matter what, they'd be like, what? No matter what? Okay, well let me set up then. It's like the hand is full, and you're like, let me just get ready for my turn here. So no, I think that's
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's
I
super
think we
fair.
we see eye to eye on that. Yeah, that's too much.
All right, so now we have some anomaly pool updates. So this is good because I think a big complaint, I guess, with players was like some anomalies feel worse to play. Not that they're bad anomalies, but they just don't feel interesting, right? Like if you start a game, you look at the anomaly, and you're like, oh my god, like that's horrible. You're just
Yeah.
like you want people to be like, yeah, I want to play this, I want to try that, So definitely some changes in that direction. So these will now appear less frequently. Might and Fortitude of Kazgaroth, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Oops, all blah blah blah, and then Finicky Hourglass. All of these four are appearing less frequency. Any thoughts? Like I think we talked about a little bit earlier, but I think these
Yep.
are some of the less interesting ones.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I I get that you want to have a lot of anomalies, but I wonder if it would be just better to just not have them at all. Now I
Mm-hmm.
understand that there's different tastes, right? And somebody might really love oops all. Just be like, oops all elementals is my jam. I
Well,
don't
I
care
can
if it's in
I can
house.
see why some people like it because it's like you get to do that fantasy of a card
Yeah.
competition. Like the winning player gets the god comp, right? That's
Yeah.
so like some players just want to get that god comp, and with oops
Yeah.
all, you have that huge chance to be that player. So I could see the
Yeah.
appeal for some players.
So even though personally, right, I would enjoy if they were just not in.
Mm.
I get why it's reduced frequency because yeah, you do want to have the option there, right, for the players that do want to have that power fantasy of like. I mean, on the Millhouse game, I had 2 golden Nomis.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
I was like full, like my shop was
Yeah.
3, like almost 400.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
right there, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're
yeah,
looking
that's
for.
the
Right?
YouTuber right there.
So pretty
So,
cool.
but yeah, no. So fair. In short, fair. I think it's good. All of these, at least to me, are either very imbalanced or just extremely boring, and sometimes a combination of both. Where Fortitude of Gasgaroth and you have a Vol'jin, it's
Yeah,
so
it's not
it's
fair at
like
all.
every time you roll a magnetic, you're like doubling your stats. Like I in no time I had 1,000 health going with this. It was actually insane, right? I mean, because you go like, oh, I have 25-25. Let me just swap that to a magnetic. Now I have 50-50. Swap that to a magnetic. Now I have 100. It's just like, it goes very quickly. Like each
Seems
magnetic is double your stats.
yeah. All right, sounds good. And then the next one we have the following anomalies will appear more frequently. I don't know why I'm doing that. Prudence of Amatus, winds shifting disc, bring in the bat buddies, and then a fair reward. Any thoughts on these being appeared more frequently?
I play this game for a living, and I have not seen Prudence or Winds Shifting Discs yet,
Really?
which is insane to me.
Really?
Like,
Wow.
yes, I have not been offered either of these, and it's like I have played every single day since the patch for like a minimum of 5-6 hours, sometimes 10 hours or something, right? So yes, so probably good that we've increased the offering rate. Because I
What
mean,
was the offer? Zero point
I
one
don't know.
percent. Like,
That's why I'm just bringing it up anecdotally. Sample size of 1. So keep in mind, there's always this really unlucky streak that's possible. But imagine if you're a more casual players and, the amount of games I've had is like the amount of games they'll have in a season or something. It's
right.
just like, well, you didn't see the quest at all, ever, right? So yeah, good. I'd say. I think they're all good. Like especially now that they've tweaked the friends and family discount for the prizes on a fair reward. Elise is out. I think that's actually a fundamentally fun one to play because it's very different. You can't triple into a golden minion, so that changes how you play. But triples are still very powerful. So if anything, you play more into pairs than in other anomalies. So yeah, again, I think it's a good change. I like it.
Sounds good. Next up, we have the minion updates. Some of these, I wonder what my thoughts are going to be on. Surf and Surf now is becoming a 3/2 crab instead of a 2/2 crab. Huh. I mean, the card seems good tempo. Maybe, I mean, people are still picking a Comedy over it, so I guess like maybe their stat just said, oh, it wasn't being picked enough. But I don't really.
I was picking this and doing well with it,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But yeah, so now my 1/4 takes damage from a Surf and Surf, and I'm just like, that feels bad, right? It's like it gets bonked by the 1/1, and then the 3/2 value trades it.
Yeah.
It's like, huh?
So 1/4 have lost some priority with this change.
Yeah, 1/4 is now get farmed by this.
Yeah. Weird. Like I don't see why this is there because the stats were good.
I looked at it where this felt fine to me, but whatever, right? Like this is very likely like it was either not being picked enough, like you said, or wasn't winning enough. So sure.
I'm just wondering what do you beat now that you are losing to? Like what breakpoints does this change? Right, the 1/4 is the main one, but like other than that, like don't you just tie with everything else or
there's probably something, right? But I mean, there's always Picky Eater, some variation of Picky Eater.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I think it's more. It's now it's got a bit more staying power, right, into tier 2, tier 3.
I guess so. I'm still gonna sell it and buy 2/2 drops. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, there's always the Scout or the Tadrol, right? That keeps them alive.
Wow, they're moving New Zhao into tier 5? Huh. What?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought this card was really good, even as a tier 6 minion. Just the ability to just kill something off.
Yeah.
Now you can have like multiple copies of this.
I do think it's a bit much. Yeah. I played this on tier 6 quite frequently.
Yeah.
It's the perfect sort of buff target for Rock or whatever. So, but I mean, for that purpose, it doesn't really change. I guess they just
now you can have golden ones, right? Like
yes, now you will see golden New Zhao more often, and
that's we'll really good.
Maybe that becomes more of a viable strategy. Then again, golden 5, that's golden brand, right? Like how often do you golden your brand? So it's like you do that, but that's
I'm sure there's going to be some anomalies that make that a possibility, right? So like how often
that's fair. The double copy or get 2 of them or something like that. That's right.
This one I'm not sure about instinct wise, like question marks. But I mean, what you think it's fine, or you think it's like maybe scary?
I was initially happy to have it as a 6.
Okay.
Like I thought that was fine.
Okay.
So to have it now at a 5, willing to see what happens.
Okay.
Not something that I'm like panicking about.
Okay.
But
not panicking. All right. Yeah. You don't lose.
Was leaning towards it being fine at 6. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
All right. Soul Rewinder is now a 3 attack instead of 2 attacks. So they're rewinding a previous change. I get it. There's some dads in there. Snicker. All right, fair enough. Whatever. It's not that important. I hear you.
Yeah.
Keyboard Igniter is now a 4/1 instead of a 4/2. But now, if you've taken damage, instead of giving your demons +1/+2, you're giving your demons +2/+2. So you get an extra attack. That seems fine. It's a battle cry. You play it if you lose or you take damage. It's a buff to demons, basically. So.
Yeah,
I'm okay with
that. I don't think that changes much for this card. You were already playing it when it was good. It's just even better now when it's good.
Yeah. So basically, this is like demons are behind. That's my takeaway. Demons aren't being played that much.
Yes, mainly because they don't have base skill, and they don't have shields.
They don't have shields. Yeah.
Like that's the issue with demons, right?
They don't have shields or cleaves or base skill. Yeah, I hear you.
Like demons is the perfect punching bag. It's just target dummies, right? It's just dudes.
Where
7 dudes on a board,
where
and they just get farmed.
where's the advantage of playing demons, right? When you look at the other um minion types, you can say, oh, Quilbers have this, oh, elementals have this, beasts have this, murlocs have this, right? Mechs have tons of stuff. Right? Where is the demon advantage? Where do you like, I can only do this with demons? Like, yes, you can eat the board, and maybe you can't. I don't think you can honestly say demons get the higher stats. Like, I don't think that's true.
They get stupid big with Urzels, right? Like if you have
Yes,
any kind of shot buffing going
but
on,
then they
it's
get killed for free with Leroy's and Bristlebacks. So
yeah. Well,
it's
you
like,
can untaunt them now, right? But it's
but true,
work.
true.
You have to roll the
Yeah,
thing. But yes, I mean I agree, right? You get 7 dudes, and 7 dude boards are bad. This is why we don't play demons at high MMR. You don't want 7 dudes. You want to have some shield, some cleave, some base skill, right? Like it's not and you take damage, right? You have to take
right.
damage.
Sure.
You need to roll Soul Rewinder. So I think demons are just like overall just killer for low MMR, like
Mm.
perfect, right? Just you have to roll to scale.
But
I
demons
can
need
roll.
something, you know. This is what I'm saying. Like, demons
Yeah,
need
for high MMR.
a little uniqueness to them that wins them fights. Like, stats is great, but that doesn't win you fights at high MMR. People will cheese you, so they need a little some. Like, you know, undeads have like the recurring nightmare and like summoning tons of things. All right, there's nothing here, so something to work on development wise. But yeah. Speaking
Yeah.
of that, Famish Fellbat just getting. I really dislike this old change. I really was not happy to see your other demons consume a minion. I really dislike that change. So I'm happy to see it gets its stats back. Now it can consume itself. I don't think this
Yeah.
saves demons, but of course, like I just was saying, like I didn't love it.
It's better.
Yeah.
I think this got changed to patch when they probably this was when they introduced Rylac, right? I think because it's been a while. And what I honestly think is that there was internal testing with Rylac Elemental stuff,
Mm.
and then someone played a Fellbat and they were like, "Oh, that's not okay."
Oh, with Rylac, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because it was so easy to get a large shop, and then it's like, "Oh, let's just play a Fellbat now," and it's so incredibly easy then to turn that large shop into large minions.
The
So
playtesters who are doing it must have been easy. Yeah, I hear you.
I again, right? That is pure
Pure
speculation. But
speculation. I hear you.
when I saw that Fellbat change, I was like, man, this card is so awful now that I'm assuming that something happened where they just played it and were like, nah, not happen, not Fellbat too good, not playing with that. So
They
yeah.
one of the playtesters beat the developers, and they're like, "No, no, not on my watch." Like, get out of here. Man, I can hear it. All right, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I do think this is better, but I still don't think demons are going to be in a good spot with even with these changes.
I mean, I've had a demon win here and there, but it's rare. You really have to pull ahead, and then you got to be ready, right? Which you're like, all right, so I'm demons, and
When do
now
I
it's
sell the rest of my board? Like,
when do when do I keep my 3 or 4 largest guys, and then the rest is blast or selfless baron or something, right? Because if you want to win at high MMR, it's pretty much got to be okay. I need something to kill their scam.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, we have Time Saver. This one I thought was pretty. I was worried when I read this, but you know, I've talked to you. If you have any unspent gold at the end of your turn, this sells for 3 more gold. So it used to be 2 more gold, now it's 3 more gold. You are losing. It is a 2/3 instead of a 3/5, so you're losing 2 health and 1 attack. So it is a big downside, a big drawback. Instead of you're losing lots of tempo, but now if you have unspent gold, you sell for 3 more gold. So that can really stack. My concern when I looked at this is like there are some heroes, some board states that can start super, super hot. Like, regardless of what you have on the board, you can get like a really powerful, like Divine Shield minion or something like that can really carry you. And then this isn't as much like it's like having a scout essentially, right? It's a little bit worse than a scout because you also have to spend like you have to not use gold. But there are going to be some games maybe this will sell for like 9 gold, and that can really that's a whole nother turn, right? Like that can be a double level or something like that. So it's interesting. I don't think it's going to be like a super big problem for most games, but the games where you have like that perfect start, this is like a really crazy like tempo spike.
The issue with that scenario you're describing for me is if I have that game, I want to go to 4 on 8 gold. I don't want to buy a time saver. So like the games where your board is the nuts, like it would have to be like 3 on 3, hit the nuts, like, you know, Overseer, get the free demon or something like that. And then you hit time saver on like, so that's very
So
conditional.
you're
Right?
the issue is like time savers a 3-drop, and a lot of times 3 drops have to be like deflecto basically to be picked up on 3.
Well, in the scenario where you're crushing, right? Because you're describing, you can put this on your board and still win,
right,
which is possible.
Yeah.
But then in that scenario, you'd either have to stay onto your 3 on 8 gold, and if you're crushing, you kind of want to push 4,
for sure, yeah.
or you'd have to have gone 3 on 3. But that's so specific, right? Because then you 3 on 3, you open the Giga Nuts on 6 gold, and then on 7 gold, you can buy time saver and get away with it.
I guess the scenario where this is good is if you roll double of them, right? On 3.
And
then
somehow make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's 8 gold, you roll double, you buy double, you have the unused gold. This sells for 6 gold next turn. Like that doesn't mean both of them sell for 4.
So 3 more gold, so you'll get 8 gold if you sell both.
If you sell both, yeah, that's a lot already.
Yes.
Like without doing much.
It's like with the most things, right? Like describe it as rolling its singles versus a pair.
Yeah.
Right, get pair of this or pair of that. It's most of the time much better.
Yeah.
So worth experimenting with. It's just like the vibe I'm getting from most of the games. Like I wouldn't want to put this on my board and just take the damage because it's been.
I see. Yeah.
It's been crazy, right? A lot of games.
It being a 3 hurts. Wow, that's an interesting thought there. Where, how do you get this on your board early? Because if it was a 2-drop, yeah, sure. Like,
yeah, 2-drop, right? We're talking Scout, Corpse Refiner. You get it, right? It's like super good, but threes are specific.
Hard.
3s have a specific function. Like it's hard to put a value 3 on the board like that.
Yeah, and it's a 2/3 on 3. Like, ugh, disgusting.
That's when people start buying real minions, right? And then they put the freaking Overseer plus the Deflectobot on the board, and you're like, oh, this thing.
I see what happened. People were buying this and dying, I guess. And then you know what their solution is? Let's have them die more. right?
Well, it was a 3/5. Yeah, they were dying with a 3/5. So, but at least interesting enough that at some point, right? I'll roll it, and at some point I'll be like, you know what? Okay, sure. But it's going to be very specific, I think, for me to pick it up.
That's super fair. Okay, you've saved my concerns. I can see why it's not like a snap pick or anything like that.
Cool.
Stormbringer gaining 2 health from a 1/7 to a 1/9. I can see this wasn't really being played. Honestly, it makes sense to me that it wasn't being played. I can see the buff. Does it change anything? I don't know. What do you think?
Stormbringer has this very specific thing, but it's insanely good if you hit it. You want Whelp Smuggler because every dragon, like let's say you have Kali or you have, let's say something even more modest, right? You just have some Skyfin, right? Anything that'll proc attack regularly. The Stormbringer gains health on every separate attack. So you're putting attack on one Skyfin and then you're putting attack on the other Skyfin. Those are 2 different procs. And then the Whelp Smuggler, especially if it's golden, will be like 4 health, 4 health, 4 health, 4 health, 4 health. So this thing gets very high attack, obviously, right? Because every time it's not even whenever a friendly dragon gains attack, this gains 1. It's like, no, it gains the attack, right? So all the attack that's being gained, this guy gets it too. So it pretty much always ends up being your highest attack minion. And if you then funnel it, like the Whelp Smuggler procs, it's a giga high health minion as well. So in Oops All Dragons, this is the shit, right? This is what you play. People do Stormbringer mid game because you just go Golden Whelp Smuggler, which you pretty much always hit, right? Because it's 5 times more Whelp Smugglers or whatever it is. Maybe 2 times only, but still 2 times more Whelp Smugglers. And just the sheer like not having beasts in, not having elementals in, it just makes it far more likely you're gonna hit, right? Any
Right.
neutral as well. So it's almost forcible, right? Where you will get the Golden Whelp Smuggler. And then it's just play anything that puts attack on your other dragons. And this thing will just be large and very healthy. So I don't think this changes that much, because when it's good, it's really good. And outside of that, I'm not sure how happy I am with it. But, well, let me think about it. When I start with 9 base health, that I guess that makes it more buyable in certain shops where you're like, okay, you know what? This is getting 4 attack minimum this turn. So I'm
Right.
getting a 5/9 on my
5/9.
board. Okay, that's fair. So they are good with that, where they just like nudge the stats. Like, do you want to buy it now? Do you want to buy it now? Oh, you want to buy it now? Okay, good. So that's what you want to do, right? With those stat changes, like because when minions are good, you're already buying them.
Yeah.
But the way you get minions to be played more, it's like, hey, we've made Peggy, back in the day, we've made Peggy a 6/5. Now Peggy is back to being a 4/2 because maybe people learned how good Peggy was and were like, oh, we're gonna nerf Peggy, right? Big Fernal is my example I always go back
The
to. That used to be
standard.
a
It's
4.
the standard.
Yeah, that's the standard shady, like, oh my god, they changed the stats and now I'm buying Big Fernals. It's not a good example because it's not in the game anymore, but short version is, yes, if you increase the stats on a minion, there comes a point where you start buying them, and then because you buy them, they're on your board, and it's more likely that you find a strategy for it. Because let's say I'm buying Stormbringers and then I roll Whelp Smuggler, now suddenly I'm playing Stormbringer.
I could just imagine like Shady's like, Big Fern was such a great change, and then they're like, hey guys, Shady's hallucinating again. Like,
yeah, Grandpa's talking about this Big Fernal thing again. Like, was that from the war? Yeah.
But yeah, fair enough. But yeah, okay, interesting. But we'll see if it starts being played more because of it. So that's the takeaway.
Yep.
And then we have nice electric synthesizers getting +1 on its buff. I want to play dragons, but every time I'm just like, man, I could be winning the game instead, like so. It's nice to give some stats. Like health is really important, so being able to give some health to this does make this. I will say this does make this look like a pretty good card if you're playing dragons, right? Like 3 attack, 1 health. Like that is very meaningful. I would say so. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
Yeah.
The I was already buying the regular version for dragon boards because 3 attack on everything.
Yeah.
Good, right? And a lot of the time you have synergy where either it's Kali or Bran or Whelp Smuggler, something to juice this up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, strong.
Yeah.
Just really strong dragon hit right now. I tripled it earlier today. That felt amazing. I was like, play one. I was like, play one. Play the other. Play the gold. Oh, get the 7-drop as well. Oh,
my god! All right,
yeah,
I hear you.
That was a very good turn.
Speaking of 7-drops, we've got another dragon buff, Obsidian Ravager. It's now a 7/7 instead of a 4/4. So that's a huge. That's a huge buff. People really were not playing dragons. That's my takeaway. All the dragons are getting some love. But yeah, I think this card is good. Very good early, right? Good tempo. This card, dude, this card when it has stats is so annoying, actually. But yeah, it's gonna be slightly easier to get its stats, and you're gonna want to start with it now more since it's based like 4/4 was not great. Like if you couldn't buff it at all.
Yeah, if you could not do anything for that turn, that's tough. Yeah, you have a 4/4.
Yeah, 7/7. I think I could see even if I couldn't buff it at all. I think I'm like, oh yeah, like that's still doing something. So pretty good card, I think. Still.
Yeah, I think tier 7 lobbies are real good for dragons. At least some of them, because dragons need this critical mass, and when they hit it, they're flying, right? Like those Kali boards where you have the Bran and the Kalis, it feels good to be dragons. So you have some premium buff targets now in the Ravager and the Fairy Dragon, what's it called? Brightwing.
The Brightwing, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So those are really good targets to give a lot of damage to. And especially with, the synthesizer giving damage and just any kind of interaction with Caligos, it's good. So in tier 7 lobbies, you also a lot of the time have access to Zarjira, which is the Naga with the spellcraft, give you another copy, which is very good to try and get Golden Brand, get more Caligos. You have Varian, which is always in, which can get you more Caligos. You can get Sanders, which can make Golden Brand, Golden Cali. So yeah, I do like playing dragons in tier 7 lobbies. I've had a lot of
Tier 7 is full of
fun.
stupid, basically. That's the
Yes, full of
translation.
dumb shit for sure.
But
But it works quite well for dragons because if you can create high stated minions that don't take damage when they attack, it's very good. Right? Because you can
wow.
Yeah, because you can have Morg, right? Which is like, oh, it's so insane. But like, if your shit attacks and doesn't take damage, you don't really care too much about like Morg being poisonous or something.
Yeah. I was saying
Yeah.
wow because of the next card. But
Oh yeah. Same for me. I was like,
so Carbonic Copy is now a tier 4 minion instead of a tier 5. So they did lower the base stats. It's now a 3/3, but it's a tier 4 minion. That's huge. That is absolutely surprising because this is very reminiscent of, like, its ability is very reminiscent of lots of tier 5 and higher cards where you double their ability in some way. Like I know the tier 5, it was I don't know if it's still in the game, but the Beast Undead that would just reborn with the same stats.
oh, Blanchy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Blanchy. Yeah, Blanchy,
Blanchy
and then the Naga
left a
one.
while ago.
Yeah, I know. And then the Naga one, right? Like those cards are all tier 5 because it's so powerful to double your stats. Now you could say the downside of this one comparatively is it takes 2 spots, right? So that would be like your saving grace. Oh, yeah, it's the same stat line, but you at least you have to use an extra spot, and maybe that's the justification for making it tier 4. But this could very much become scary if players do like focus on buffing this, because we've definitely seen some players just full stack this, give it shield, and it's just a huge threat.
Seen JJ do
You
this. Yeah.
definitely have seen JJ do this. So, concerning, but I'm willing to see how it feels, and then come.
Yeah, I would say not really concerning, but makes for like strong mid game
Mm.
where you'd have to roll the flame thing, right? That gives buffs based on how many times you've rolled. That's perfect for this. There's no more smogger, right? So you don't have that unconditional, let me just pump this elemental thing. But there are definitely ways to buff, right? You have the sphere, what's it called? The blue 3-drop thing that gives +1/+1 for every type you have. So like the targeted jug, you can do that one. But yeah, later in the game, it's a bit clunky. It's again, right? You're summoning 2 dudes, right? It's not cleave, it's not this. Like you would have to have the Naga, the shield Naga, but then you need to keep the Naga on your board. So then you're technically running, like, let's say you golden this and you have to run the Naga. That's like 2 extra spots you're summoning, and you got to keep the Naga. So you can keep 4 actual units. Like, and you need 3 free slots. Now I've done it, right? So, but it feels to me a lot of the time more like, okay, I guess I'll just go all in on copy and hope I get there. Where like roll for the triple, I make it very large.
Yeah,
like,
it's not something like, oh, I hit copy, I've won, right? Which
yes,
okay.
I'll almost never have this as my preferred game plan. This will not be like, okay, we're going for copy this game.
That's fair,
right? It'll be like, oh, let me get some base skills, or let me pop off with
we know,
undead,
Shady,
or
we know.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of rock recently, dude. Recently, I had this rock board where I played a Ravager, and in the same turn, it had over 100 damage.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? If you can triple the tier 6 elemental, right, then you can get the shield for free. So that's like a way to do late games.
Yes. Tough to very
tough to
targeted
do,
specifically do that, but possible. But again, right, in higher MMR, under the pressure from, like, basically if you're playing copy for the most part, you're under pressure.
Right.
And it's very difficult under pressure to then make your way to 5, very targeted triple into that thing, have a pair of copies and not triple it before you get to shoot. Like,
Yeah,
you see all the like ifs
yeah,
and
I
buts and
got you.
maybes.
I
So
got you.
theoretically, yes, but in practice, this is very difficult to do.
That makes sense. Okay. I'm more okay with this. My initial reaction though was like, whoa, okay. All right, next up we have Granite Guardian. It's getting 11 health. That's I don't think I've ever seen a change like this where you're like, it's a 128, like just base stats. Like there's no like 140 in the game. But yeah, okay. I think that's fair though, honestly, because some like when you get this right, you're not. It's not like you have other synergy. Sometimes like this is your like if you triple into a 7, which is what happens a lot, right? And then you have like, oh, I'm gonna pick Granite Guardian, right? And then it dies to like some 2-drop, right? With 18 attack. It's just like
It went 1 for 1, and
yeah.
you're like, what?
What? This is my 7-drop.
Why is my 7-drop going 1 for 1?
Yeah, I hear
It
that.
must give me a lot of value, right? No, no value, just pure combat 1. Okay, let me never triple in this again.
Yeah,
Good.
so I think this is fair. I think this is fine.
Yeah. No, I think that is I basically there with you.
Yeah.
This now might be damn, I'm taking damage right when they have that and you see your board.
But you do have to put this in the back, right? So that's the one caveat where at least it has to be in the back, so you can't like put it in the front and have it like reduce everything or an attack and reduce everything. So at least they have to attack with stuff.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I'm for now fine with it. Have to see how it plays out.
All right.
It is a funny buff, right? Let's just slap it on this bad boy.
And then Barricade's getting kind of a similar treatment as well, where it's becoming 18 attack instead of 12. I think I don't like this card personally because it doesn't work well against cleaves and things like that. So I remember I had like a 600 attack one, and it got cleaved twice or something, and it died because the first attack, or it got cleaved second or something. Like the first attack went in, and then the second attack it got cleaved with 1 HP and died. And I'm like, it was my whole combo. Right, I like 600 attack on it, and I'm just like, it lost to that, or when it, or what's it called?
If it ever attacks, right, it'll kill itself.
Yeah, or like, the bombs, the 3/7 bomb,
the boom bot, or the
yeah. Like there's so many ways for this to like mess you up if it's your win condition, and so I don't like it. I think it's too risky. If it worked with any instance of damage, okay. Now I'm happier, but it doesn't work with explosions and any random stuff. So it just has this big weakness where if you lose like that, that's your whole combo, so you're dead. Like if you ever have a bad fight like that, you're dead. So I just can't rely on this, so I don't like this card anymore.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah. I had one really dumb interaction with this where I had Volatile Venom. Volatile Venom is an aura. Every time the barricade shifted, the aura reapplied.
Oh.
So because it goes to 1 health, right?
Right, yeah.
And then Venom's like, no, you have +7. And then the barricade gets attacked. No, I'm on 1. And then the Venom Gara goes, no, you're a 7. So it just kept like a token attacks it, then it would just gain massive stats the whole time. Because the Venom would, like, in the mid game, it was unbeatable. It was just like heal. And
but that sounds more like a bug. No,
I was gonna say I don't even think that's a bug because the text on the card is it's got to survive with 1 health, and we know Venom is an aura, and the aura will just get reapplied. We know how that works, right? When you cookie chemist or something.
Yeah, well, I'm not buying it.
It's not, I agree, right? I think that you would make an exception and you would say, okay, even though theoretically that's how it should work, fuck that, right?
Yeah.
But so from a balance point of view, it can be infuriating if you ever. Now, for what we talked about, that is one very, very specific thing, right? That's pretty much only going to come up in the Denathrius lobbies because you need Volatile Venom. it's not really that great of a minion as we talked about right now. As seen, it's also getting buffed. So fine, whatever. But just throwing it out there, if you ever happen to have volatile venom
Here's
and
how
you can
you
pick up
cheese the
early
game, my
barricade,
viewers.
tease some people, right? Be like, what? You can't do that. And then, I mean, it could still get one shot, right? It could still just
Sure,
have a big minion.
sure.
But in the mid game, oh, this thing farms.
All right, yeah. I would love them to adjust the ability to make it not die to explosions, right? Like, why are we dying to a 3/7 or some random cleave? Like,
Yeah.
this is your game plan a lot of the times if you're playing with this, so it needs to be a little bit more reliable than to just die accidentally like that. Same thing, right? Like, that's yeah. Like, if the game goes long, is I know I'm complaining about this card. If the game goes long and it attacks, right, then it also dies. Like, like I think that's fine, but like then make it at least survive these random scenarios. All right. Next up we have Omega Buster. Oh, okay. So it's going to back to 6, I believe, from
Yeah.
5. So that's fair. This used to be a really powerful combination, but power creep. So now it's not, and they're trying to make it a little bit better. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, this just suffers from Kangor not being in.
That's true as well.
You can't roll for Exodia anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can still play Parrot,
It's
right?
too
So
fair, in my opinion.
it's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to play Parrot and you'd have to really hit it, right? We're talking the Golden Reborn
Yeah,
Parrot, Golden
the
Tide is that
huge,
type of
huge parrot comp. Yeah.
that's tough to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, Buster, just anytime I have someone with a Buster on the board, it's either not good or it's just a token enabler, right?
Yeah,
It feeds
it's my deflector reset, and
yeah,
there's
or
better ones like you
it buffs my
like
stomper, right? Type shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's like geez, okay. Um, Sanguine Champion's getting 9 extra attack. I guess that's fair. It's a 7 drop. Like I'm okay with this. The health is the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Like try to 1-for-1 something on the
Yeah,
board
yeah,
while you're
yeah,
buffing, buddy. Come on.
yeah. I hear you. I'm with that.
It was a bit slow. So yeah, I mean I have had
I
really
watched that
fun
video. I
memorable
watched that
games with it.
video. It was so
You were
crazy.
there, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Well, I've had a couple, right? So yeah, you can have it next to Lilac. That works.
next up, we have Sore Loser. It's gaining an attack, and then it's also not buffing itself. So because it's gaining attack, it's not buffing itself. So overall, it's a nerf, right? Like the
Yeah,
way
big nerf.
yeah, pretty big
You're
nerf.
so it used to be a 4/4
Right.
or how much was it? 1/4? Yeah, it used to be a
Yeah,
4/4 when it
4/4
came out.
base. Yeah, yeah,
Now it's going to be a 2/4.
yeah, and
It's
getting
not
worse.
when it's good, it's still good.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you have double handlers or something. It's not like, well, Sore Loser doesn't buff itself anymore. So like you're still very happy to put Sore Loser down. So but yeah, it's very so it's more like a really good hummingbird now. Where, before you could buy this on its own.
Don't remind
Right?
things to hummingbirds. Hummingbirds like
Sore Loser's like, oh god, they're comparing me to hummingbird. Like, I said really good. I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear hummingbird.
That's
Sore
me,
Loser.
man. Dude, he's been called sore loser the whole game, man. So he's not having it.
I was just getting on the phone like, dump those Sore Loser stocks right now.
No,
It's
no.
going in the toilet.
No. I'm a big sore loser fan. Like he tries. He tries. He just loses all the time. Like, what can you do?
But yeah, I mean, before you could buy it and it'd be a 4/4, and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right now, you really don't want to be putting a 2/4 on your board.
You have to have some synergy.
Yeah. So this is the reverse effect, right? We see Stormbringer now becoming a 1/9, then making it more likely he gets picked up without synergy.
Right.
This is the reverse. We now have Sore Loser becoming a 2/4, so now you'll just see less Sore Losers being picked up in isolation, which means there'll just be fewer mid-game undead boards because if you have Sore Loser on your board, you're going to be more likely to buy the undead token.
Undead's really good right now, so I think that's fine. To be fair, so I'm okay.
Well, I mean, keep scrolling.
I haven't seen it yet. So all right, let's keep scrolling. So Relentless Sentry is gaining an attack, right? So that's good. not the
good.
biggest deal in the world, but because like usually if you're playing undead, like attack is like something you have in spades, so it's not crazy, but sure. All right, next up we have Champion of the Premise. This card is too broken. I want to see some changes, and they are giving some change. So it's going to Avenge 3. Okay, that is important. That's a big nerf, to be fair. So
Sure.
this is going to be a lot slower. I will say it was too fast before, so this is reasonable of a nerf. Okay. I'm
good
okay,
nerf.
but this is a big nerf, yeah. This is maybe
Well, I mean, any lobby undead was in almost. I was like, well, if I can get a Primus, I'll do that.
I will do that, yeah.
And that wasn't good, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you have a board for tokens and you're like Primus, okay, cool, let's do that.
Right. That's
Right, but you're not gonna push it to Primus or really, because I used to just set up for it, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna buy. It's kind of like when Lightspawn was good, right? You just buy Acolyte of Cthulhu because you're like, okay, Lightspawn's gonna be good. I need the milk setup.
Yeah.
Same with Primus. You would like build your milk setup and then hope you hit Primus.
Yeah, super fair. All right. And then next up, Recurring Nightmare. So this is like assuming the Primus buff hits, like it's hitting this card, so you're giving it 3 health. Yep. 3 attack to like fix it back up. That does make but I guess you're not playing Sore Loser and Primus in the same game. Like if you have a Primus.
No, you dump your Sore Loser in the
dump those stocks.
Dump those stocks. Yeah, they really depreciate over time.
All right, so those are the undead changes, right? So the big one being Primus, and hopefully that's a good enough. You've played two days, right? So have you been seeing less undead, or is it still like pretty impactful?
Fewer undead comps. I've definitely seen some, right, where people really hit it, but overall it's a bit less. I will say the Recurring Nightmare. This, I think, is a source of a lot of frustration when people do get hit.
I don't like that it's a 7-drop, dude. This thing kills you instantly. It's like you lose this, you're taking 30, 40 damage and you're dead. There's no secondary way to like, oh, I lost to it. Okay, I can recover. Now I can build a comp to deal with the recurring, let's add some, some cleave, some AoE, some ways to, no, you're dead. Here's 40 damage. Like, have a nice day. and that can happen super early in the game too, right? Like you get your triple's recurring, bam, you're in there and you're killing people, so.
Well, you'd need Titus, right? Because it's kind of like frogs. Without Titus, you'll never get more than one. But yeah. Assuming you have Titus. So I want to clear that picture that I don't think this card is like the giga nuts or anything. No. I don't. It's like, I picked up a nightmare.
But it's frustrating.
Yes. So I think stats-wise, this card does not seem problematic. It's not like you look at it and be like, oh, everyone that picks up a nightmare is getting a first, right? Because it's clunky. It could block or maybe not block a reborn, but at least you're losing value, right? Where you would reborn and then this
and the order matters, right? Like
and it can go to the back and you never get the other copy, right? So I think on average it's actually not even that good. Of course, it can look really good when it pops off, but so can almost any card. Any card can look good. It's about how consistent
reliable is it?
Yeah. But I think the frustration that comes from when it does work against an opponent is just not worth it, right? If we're talking from a pure, like, okay, how is this for the end user experience? Like the player that loses to Nightmare and takes over 40 damage when there's literally no minions alive that started on the board, or like maybe one, right?
Why don't summon minions deal 1? I mean, it's such a thing that could solve so much frustration.
It's something that we don't really see. It's just something that we probably just keep pointing out because it's like the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
it's been here for years, and we still don't really have a good reason as to, because this is the argument I always give when, they say, oh, the game length will be too long. It's not like, oh, beasts are out, I can't coiler and one-shot someone. Oh no, this game's gonna last hours now. I can't kill someone on turn 9 with my coilers for 30 damage. It's like, we don't think that way. It's not like, oh, beasts are out, well, this is gonna take forever, right? It's like, no, you play the game and you don't kill someone way too early. But I mean, but think about it. That is how it happens. But that is the main argument that people will throw out when you say, well, tokens have to deal damage because otherwise we'll be here forever. It's like, no, that just doesn't happen. If you have a normal board where you just deal damage to people, game lengths are fine, right? But it's just frustrating that like, and now that it's a 7
It's a
drop, like
7 drop,
especially
and you can get like 4 of them, 5 of them on your board, and it's just like, oh, here's 35 damage plus your base. Like you're dead. Like doesn't matter your health.
over 50 damage happens with this, right? You take over 50. Like you can have your armor in a
Dude,
tier 7
dude,
lobby and get one shot.
this is a hilarious story. So I was like playing a game, and I was looking at my opponent's damage. This guy dealt 35 damage. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna be insane. You know, like what the 35 damage? Like what is he? Before I fight, it's just like some recurring nightmare trash. I like destroyed him. I'm just like, I got so baited. Find that damage source. I was like, oh my god, how did he? Like, because the other guy he beat was like kind of strong. Like, I was like, oh, that other guy he destroyed was like, I was struggling against him, so I gotta really fight hard. Now, let's go all in. And I just destroyed him. It was like he had nothing. Just some recurring nightmares. I'm just like, oh my god.
Right. Oh man. Just a little rant on our end. Don't mind us, guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, next card.
Yeah. Fun.
But yeah, we got Fairy Tale Coroller. So this one is getting a buff as well. It's losing 1 health, but that doesn't really matter. You never keep it on your board, really. If you lost your last combat, you give your other minions +2/+2. So you were saying like this could be problematic, right? Since it's a 4 drop, you level and then you play this in poof, right? But they're saying, oh, the stats say that it needs another buff. So what's your thoughts with it now as a +2/+2?
Yeah, I was looking at this and was like, well, if it's a card you only buy when you've just lost the fight, how does that skew your stats, right? Where the people that are buying it are the losers.
Also dying, yeah. There's like this isn't saving them. I see what you're saying.
I was going to say where when I play it as Tutu, oh, it feels very good right now. I mean, it's a jug for your, let's be honest, it's a jug for your whole board.
For your whole board, yeah.
That's good. I mean, jug is fine. We buy jugs, right?
Yeah.
So like this definitely swings board states a lot. Like I played 2 of these with Bran at some point. I was like, oh my god. It's like strong shell and everything's taunted. You know how it feels, right?
I do.
So that's this now. So not sure if it was needed, but I can see that probably where you're introducing a combat card. Well, the guess what? The people that are destroying are never buying this card. So you're missing their stats, right? I'm sure they thought of this, right? I'm not trying to teach them how to balance. It's just the way my interpretation came here. Like I can see why this was buffed, but I'm not sure if it was necessary, right? Because like your front runners are just not even looking at this card.
You know what? It really like kind of punishes you for winning, in a sense, where
like a small win, and then
you're doing well, and then
2 of these, and then
and then your opponent's like, oh, thank you for dealing damage to me. Now I can destroy you next game, like next time we fight, right? Because I'm getting +12 for 2 gold. You know, like okay, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, that argument I don't think is true because that's like 3-4 turns down the line, right? Like those stats don't
but
matter.
yeah, everyone else is suffering, you know, like okay.
Yeah. Not your problem, the next guy's problem.
Yeah,
right?
Like, oh yeah, you lost like
exactly.
It might be better to lose the fight, right? Like in terms of like, oh, I don't want to buff my opponents, right? Like so let me lose. I know we're getting like this is like this is not something you can do intentionally, but like happenstance. Oh, I lost a fight. Okay, now I'm in a better spot, like compared to my opponent because I have access
for
to
sure.
This. Yeah,
you roll 2 of these. Oh man, you are so back in the game, right? Like, let's say you lose, you go up on
8
let's even say you go up on 8 gold, but then you lose the 9 gold battle or whatever, but you have your minions, and then your 10 gold is like, oh, then I care, you know. Because like sometimes you can say when you lose your 7 gold fight or your 8 gold fight, right? And then on 9 gold you roll, you don't necessarily have the stuff
minions that you want to buff. I see what you're saying,
right? So it's like the 1 turn after that. It's like you have the pirate cleave on the board, and then you hit this, and you're like, oh baby, let's go. Yeah, first catch-up mechanic. Blue shell was probably the first catch-up mechanic. The turtle that sells for 5.
I was gonna say blue shell, but I was just thinking about Mario Kart. I wasn't thinking about the card, but the 5 gold for sure. I hear you. That one is more skill testing, right? Because you have to use the gold properly. Where This one is just like stats.
Early, it's an auto buy. Yeah, like, oh, lost, ka-chung. I mean, not that the blue shell wasn't an auto buy. So.
Huh. Okay, so the following minions have been removed from the minion pool. Razor Gore. I guess Razor Gore is a little slow.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. Baby Crush.
Old man Razor Gore.
Yeah, feels bad. Baby Crush, happy to see that. Dynamic Duo. I guess that's fine too. Like the Duo was okay, but the problem is like taunt cards are struggling a little bit. Right? There's just too many ways to deal with it. And then Inventomatic. I forgot what this card did, which is not a good sign.
And that's exactly why it's out. It was this little 2-drop that every time you put a magnetic on something,
that
the
card.
thing would get an
Oh
extra
yeah,
one.
yeah. Get
So
it.
negligible.
I hear you. All right, the following cards have been returned. So General Drakasat, a lot of big lovers of this card. Tavern Tempest, yes, I was so sad when I was like, oh, why are we killing this?
Yeah.
Bonker's back. Oh, nice. And Kaboom Bot's back. Cool. Okay. So good changes.
I agree. There's no change in the minion pool that I don't look at and be like, you know what? That is a great decision. Good job, guys. Razor Gore, who the hell buys Razor Gore, right?
No.
Baby Crush, get that out of here. I don't want to lose to an early Baby Crush. Dynamic Duo really does not fit gem comps anymore because gem comps are about big gems. Not necessarily a shit ton of gems, but just large gems. So Duo felt very out of place. And Bonker is gem generation, which matters a lot more if you're making big gems. Okay. And then Inventomatic, like Collins will be like, who? Invento what? Invento what now?
I didn't even know what card that was, yeah. Tavern Elementals are the big winner because they get a free elemental where they didn't have in B.
Yeah. Drakasat and Tempest are like the big ones here. Yeah. Those are like Bran loves this.
Yeah,
like,
Bran big fan.
Like Caligo's board.
And to be fair, Death Rattles, have been like kind of been the king right now, so I can see the Bran.
Yeah, we've had that sort of stomper undead supremacy, right? So no, good. I like it. Overall good changes.
All right, nice. So yeah, I mean, now that I've talked to you, discussed it, like I feel happy with these changes. I don't have too many like big concerns, I guess. So pretty good patch. Huh? They did a good job.
Yep.
Yeah. Like wow.
I like it. I like it. Of course, there's always some things we're gonna point out, but you can. I'd be very impressed if they do a patch in a podcast. You know what? No further notes. This is exactly the way I would have done it.
I hear you. Yeah,
as far as patches go, this is a really solid one. I agree. There's most of the stuff I wanted to see addressed has been addressed. There's just of course like little things, right?
Because anomalies are not like inherently balanced, so we're always gonna have like problems.
Like you're just not going to create an environment with anomalies where it's like, oh, I feel like every single hero has pretty much as much chance. Like that's not happening. Like there's no specific minion I'm donkey rolling for in this mode, right? It's like that's unlikely.
There is something that maybe I want to ask you about, right? That they didn't really touch here, and that's heroes, right? No hero changes at all. Is there anything that jumps out to you when I say heroes that are like, ooh, this is something to be looked into?
Yeah, I mean, there's specific stuff. So when we look at Thorim, for instance, the fact that Thorim exists in an environment where you have money match, where you just blast through all your gold, farm your
that was not balanced at all.
That's weird. Where it'd be okay. Like, let's say we talk about Thorin being okay in money match, then why is it like it'd be a complete piece of trash if anything else? Right? It's like because you have one mode where you blast through your gold, you rush your 7-drop like crazy, and then the other one is like have fun spending 65. So like for me, I pick Thorim when it's tier 7.
Right.
And when it's money match, right? Because tier 7, you got more time, you got more armor. Money match, you just blast through it. The others, I'd have to see. Also, there are specific things that probably shouldn't be possible. Now, I'll give Thorim as an example, but it's not necessary, especially in Heimdall. I don't think
another one where you're gonna be like, yes, there's a lot of problems.
yeah. But I mean, this one is really like this one. I think is just an oversight, or maybe not. But you have Little League, for instance,
right?
No minions higher than tier 4 allowed.
Yeah.
You could pick Brand and get a Brand. What the fuck is that?
Oh.
You could play Brand. You could
Oh.
just have a Brand on tier 4 and be
What?
like, no one else has a Brand. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
Just
that
like
doesn't
Primal
that
Fin
doesn't
Lilac
seem
it up.
balanced at all.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have a Brand when no one else has a 5-drop or more?
Yeah, probably
And
not to be shouldn't be available. In that,
you could pick Denathrius and roll Tombs with a Summoner.
Oh.
Let me just get a Summoner in the lobby where no one else has more than a 4-drop. Let me pick Thorim and farm a 7-drop in a lobby where no one else has more than a 4-drop. Now, I want to point out that I think at high MMR, that's not good because those lobbies are
They'll kill you.
bam.
Yeah,
You go, right? Like 65G, have fun. No hero power for 65G. You did, right?
You're right.
Like people buying tanks like crazy, deflecto botting. It's like good luck spending 65 gold not dying. But probably at lower MR, OP, right? Because those lobbies are slower. People are not as optimized for tempo. You could spend 65G and then have your 7-drop in an environment where no one else has high tier minions. The game kind of plays itself from there. But yeah, high MMR, I don't think it's a problem because you die. You'd have to high roll and then you'd have a good game anyway. But then you kind of just win, right? If you're a high rolling Thorim in Little League, then you're winning your early game because your minions are the nuts, and then you get a 7-drop on top of that. It's just over. But yeah, so stuff like that is still there. Where you look at a specific anomaly, like, should we allow this? Probably not. And there's several other examples. Now they have addressed it a little bit. I believe Pertris is no longer allowed in the grapple or grapnel, the one where your first buy is free, which makes sense,
I
right?
see that. Yeah, it'd be too strong.
Yeah, it's like you can buy 3 cards pretty much every turn if your first minion is free, right? So it's like that's very, very strong. So they are aware of it. It's not like they're completely ignoring it, and they did a lot of bans from the get-go where they say, this hero doesn't make sense, that hero doesn't make sense. But yeah, that my point was that it's very, very difficult to get to a point where you look at all the anomalies and there's no heroes like that where you say, this is probably too good, that is probably too good.
That's super fair. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the price we pay for having such a because this is the boldest patch, I would say, right? Yeah. It's like, let me just create this separate rule set for every single lobby.
Yeah,
that's very difficult to balance.
All right, super, super duper fair. I like that. And any final thoughts? I feel like we covered the patch and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having fun learning it. I think from a purely performance-based one, it could be my worst patch ever because I'm a very routine-based player. I have my strategies. I get my I know this, I know that. So having to generate the playbook for every anomaly, it's gonna take me a while.
I can see that.
So, by the time I'm ready to farm, it's gonna be no meta, right? Or I might, I'm assuming that I'm gonna be ready to farm at some point, but it's gonna be much later in the season. So from a performance-based point, this might be my worst meta ever, but I'm gonna try to not let that get in the way of my appreciation of the actual, mechanics.
That's nice. I'm not having any problems, I actually do. Sometimes I come back, play a game, and everyone is full try hard, and I'm like, what does this card do? Sometimes.
Yeah, it's like that meme lady looks at the butterfly is this a win condition?
Yeah. But yeah, pretty fun patch for sure. And anyways, that will be our podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining us. Send us feedback at hsbgpodcast@gmail if you want. You can find us on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. I'm not calling it X. I've made my decision. So Shady Bunny Live, Educator Collins HS, Educator Collins, blah blah blah. And hope you guys enjoy that. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the anomalies and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah. See you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good one, everyone.
Or more. No, yeah, probably 2 weeks.
I just throw it out there because you're scaring people.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Scene. We're good.
Fun. Good
Yeah.
one.
I do